Yay, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for clicking play on this week's episode of Cork in the North. I'm Andrew Ryan, and we do appreciate everybody that listens and downloads and watches on YouTube. So we've had a few messages off people regarding last week's episode, which was very interesting actually. I got a few things wrong because I say we don't do facts in this podcast, right? So I don't know if you see this pub here, right? I said that was a pub in Cork. It's actually the Spaniard in Belfast. I got it completely mixed up with a different pub. So we got some artwork for the studio. So that's actually the Spaniard in Belfast, not a pub in Cork. And also, as well as I did say last week to our wonderful guest Sean Hegarty that we didn't have any Weatherspoons down in Cork, but my brother corrected me. He sent me a message telling me that there is a Weatherspoons in Cork, which I didn't know about. I mean, I'm not supposed to know every single new pub that bloody opens up in Cork, am I? I don't even live there. So anyway, yeah, there is a Weatherspoons in Cork. Next time I'm in Cork, I'll probably go to it. Anyway, this week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new guest. He's just arrived in the building because he's fucking 25 minutes late.
I was doing work for both of us, I swear, I can prove it.
Okay. You might as well come in and join in now. So we normally start at 11 o'clock here on a Tuesday, but you're all right, man. You're rushing. Relax.
No, I'm still Irish. It's all right.
So I'm back on with the brilliant Paddy Mcdonnell this week. He's coming. I thought I'd do a little intro and then we'll cut away into the actual start of the interview when he just walks in. So we might as well just keep it going. You all right? What's wrong with you? Listen, relax. Take your jacket off. There's no stress. You okay? What were you doing?
I was in a meeting.
He was in a meeting, right? What was this meeting about?
It was about work for us.
For us?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. We're part of the... we're joining the DUP.
We're presenting awards ceremony, so...
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so it just turned out that I think they were speaking to you before COVID, and then...
Yeah. Was this... is this in March?
September.
Who is it?
I don't want to say it.
Oh, you don't want to say it. Are we both doing it? Or are you doing it?
No, you're doing it now. You're doing the next night. I'm doing the Friday. You're going to do the Saturday.
Oh, fantastic. So we both got a bit of work.
So it was work.
Paddy, you can be late any time of the week you want.
The reason being is just because I didn't know I knew you, and then it was just talking about it and stuff like that. So, yeah, so we're going to alternate. You're going to do a bit on the Friday. I'm going to present, and then you're going to present the next night, and I'm going to do a bit.
Oh, very good. So, we're like Ant and Dec of Northern Ireland now.
That's it.
Yeah, how have you been keeping, all right?
I'm grand. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you coming in at short notice as well.
No, it's grand. Short notice, but still late. I hate people being late. I hate that. I hate even.
Yeah, but I don't mind. We're not like we're in any rush to be going anywhere.
No, but it was just I hate it when you're late. It was just there was a guy joined the meeting late, and then he mentioned you, and then it opened up a whole new thing, and then changed the whole dynamic of what we spoke about for the first fucking. So
were you on a face-to-face meeting, or were you on the phone?
Face-to-face, yeah.
You were. Oh, that's exciting, man.
So
I love it when people turn up late, but with good news. That kind of like you forget about the lateness, don't you?
You were hating me until then.
I wasn't hating you at all, man. I actually wasn't hating you. Do you like the new set?
It's lovely.
We're getting there, and next week we're going to have new wood with wallpaper on it. We have a whole new set being built, man.
Brilliant.
It's grand enough. We're getting there slowly. Like.
Lovely.
Yeah,
lovely.
I do appreciate it. So some of you may have seen or may not have seen that we recorded a little sketch recently, and we released it on Sunday. And it went a bit crazy, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Well, you knew it was going to be good. You did know it was going to be good.
But I put it up online anyway. I put it up on TikTok. I think we're up to about 150,000 hits. Yeah. But one thing I never realise is the amount of fucking idiots that comment on stuff.
On TikTok are
I mean,
horrendous.
like, you know the way like it started at Twitter?
Yeah.
And when Twitter started in what, like 2008 or 6, and then it was actually quite a nice place.
Yeah.
And then it goes into horrendous.
Yeah.
Then Instagram becomes popular.
Yeah.
And now it's all about, influencers and fake photographs and my life is much more better than yours.
Yeah.
So then people now move to TikTok.
Yeah.
And now TikTok is like, it's all short videos and little, and you kind of go, it's quite good with a bit of music and all that kind of stuff. And now, is it moving into the direction of an Instagram and a Twitter that it's going to become?
I think everything does.
And in like 2 years' time, we're going to have to find some other platform that's going to be nice for a while.
Yeah.
Some people, I just started blocking people. People were like, why are you wearing an older Cork jersey? Why don't you have like a most up-to-date one? I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, wanker.
Like, you know what I mean?
And
then I had someone then that was like, because we brought out a palette.
It has to be blue.
It has to be a blue palette. And I was like, it's just a joke.
I knew that was coming even when we were just doing it.
So what did it do? If you've not seen the sketch, you can see it on my TikTok or Paddy's TikTok or Instagram at Andrew Ryan Comedy. But basically, what is it? What is this? This because obviously every July there's a tradition up here that the British community, they have bonfires.
Yeah.
Right, and they burn pallets.
Yeah.
Okay, and the joke was me basically selling a pallet to a British guy as a joke, how to make a few quid if you're from the south, blah blah. Why? What's the situation with the blue? Just because it's North British?
They were getting pallets donated to them, and they tended to be the blue ones.
Who's donating them?
Oh, businesses, I think.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? But what actually started happening only in the past couple of years was they started like taking away their bonfires. So there was a big thing. Like there was a video of a guy on talking, like saying, "You can't take the blue pallets. The blue pallets have been donated. You know, we didn't steal them pallets. They were donated."
So we're stealing other pallets.
Well, obviously that was always the way it was done. You know, we lads would have went into the back of factories and took pallets and stuff like that.
Jesus.
But I mean, they need a fair amount. Like, if you seen the one, did you see the bonfire in Larne this year?
I saw it on the news. Yeah.
They had to get like a crane and stuff. Like, it was huge. It was a massive structure.
I mean, there's a lot of effort goes into these things.
Yeah, completely. Like, you know, so I think they're getting bigger because they can see that people are campaigning to try and stop them.
So what they're doing is because people don't want it, they go bigger to piss them off a bit more, is it? Or,
yeah, it's sort of like, that's what people do, isn't it? Like, you know, well, if you're going to do this, well, we see what we do, you know. Make it a superstructure, you know.
And is there bonfires up around here?
Yes, there's one literally just 5 minutes away from here.
And obviously you're from this area. How do you... Because I don't know. I've never experienced this before. Like, so what's the reaction on the Falls Road in July?
Pretty quiet. Traditionally, the Catholics used to go away.
Because my neighbour said that to me once. He was like, you know, the 12th is coming up. Are you staying or are you going? And I'm
Normally
like,
the Catholics just go right, see us later, and away you go. But in the Catholic areas like here, I mean... What I normally do is I would get the kids and take them in a car and drive past like the motorway and look at some big ones burning, or we'll go up in the mountain and we all look down and see all these fires. It's like Lord of the Rings. You know, there's Mordor over there, look. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. So I suppose it's kind of like part of the culture up here, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? And that's
we used to burn bonfires.
Oh, right.
In August. Well, sure, the 8th going into the 9th, and then there was one the 15th. So there was one for Our Ladies, and then there was one for the end of interment, which was they just took men. So it all gets a bit complicated. And then the Feel and Football, which is the community festival in West Belfast, that was set up to take away the bonfire.
So you're going to have a celebration without fires?
Instead of a fire, we're going to have a celebration or a festival of music, dance, poetry, whatever, comedy, you know.
But the thing is, I remember my neighbour, where I live, there's a big patch of grass outside my estate, and I saw a certain number of wooden pallets be delivered last year. Hence why I got the idea for the sketch, right?
Did you steal one of their pallets?
No, I didn't. My pallet that was in the sketch came when my kitchen was delivered.
You shall
from
not
B&Q.
live there much longer if you start stealing their pallets. They do that amongst themselves, and there's like, so they build huts at them and they guard them like the overnight.
I could just imagine as a guy with an SSE badge, you know, to secure like a doorman of a pub, just standing there protecting pallets.
Do you know what I mean? It got to that stage where each community was sort of within their own community.
Because each British community wanted a better outdo the other community.
Yeah.
So my neighbour was saying it to me, like, well, he didn't really say it, like, but he was just kind of like mentioning it, like, oh, there was a load of pallets outside the front.
Yeah.
And then I realised then that the council actually give them some pallets.
Yeah.
And I googled that because I was a bit like, the council aren't supplying equipment for a fire, are they? Like, I pay council tax.
Yeah.
So I Google it, and there is actually the Belfast City Council have this, right? The Belfast City Council have the Bonfire and Cultural Expression Programme, where you can apply for a grant to have a fire.
Yeah.
Like, how can I fucking explain that to anybody outside of Northern Ireland?
You can't.
You can't.
No.
Can
I tell you another thing?
No, but your council is giving you equipment to have a fire in a housing estate where children run around.
They'll actually give you a grant to buy a van or a vehicle to lift pallets and bring it there for kids to build a bonfire.
Jesus. But
and here's the good thing. You know, Belfast is a smokeless free zone. If you light a fire in your chimney in your house, you can be fined up to £3,000.
But the council,
which will then be used to go at the end of the road.
It's like one of those, you know, you go to prison for not paying your TV license, and you go to the cell, and the first thing you get is a TV.
It's genuinely like a Father Ted episode.
It's unbelievable. But some of the stuff up here, like, I just think, like, I just find it fascinating that. But I suppose what they say though, isn't it? Like, if you can control the traditions, it's better than not having them out of control. If you know what I mean.
But it's crazy that like in the Catholic areas they're really putting it, like even there's people trying to still have bonfires, and the politicians and the local councillors and stuff like that and community activists in a way are like physically removing these fires. They don't want them in the Catholic areas, but in the Protestant areas like they're holding on to grim death to keep that tradition. Like,
yeah, how do you feel about it?
It doesn't really affect me, and I mean I would be. Yes, there's a fire and they've got the Irish flag on it and they're burning it, and my picture actually turned up on a couple of them.
Somebody burnt your face on a bonfire. Oh my God! Listen,
you know you've made it once.
Paddy, I'm really sorry, but I didn't actually mean to send that email over with your picture on it. I just left my inbox.
You actually know you've made it as
when they're burning your face.
When they're burning your face. Like, I say to other people, have you ever made it?
Is that on your Wikipedia page? A regular face to be burned at every July.
But I don't know. I mean, when I was a kid, I collected for the bonfires in my own area. So I get it. I get why kids are doing it. But yes, there's obviously, older people involved in it and stuff. But they've been doing it for years. It's one of them ones. It's not environmentally friendly. And
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, It's a complicated thing. Who am I to comment on it when it's not involving me and it's not...
It doesn't affect me. And I mean... at the end of the day, like I like, if that's what they do and it makes them feel and it doesn't hurt anyone, I know it's probably damaging the environment. I mean, I can't really comment on it. The only bit I don't like is
sometimes there was like, not all of them, by the way, but some of them, that every one of them will have a tricolour on it being burnt, right? But the way I look at that is the tricolour's flying in their estate for a day,
There's a little part of you kind of going to yourself, oh, we just have a little United Ireland every July for a day.
Right? For the 11th of July every year, that estate becomes a wee bit more, finging,
Jesus.
But then they burn it. But I don't like when they had, there was, disabled kids' names and stuff, and priests who had committed suicide. Now, not any favourite priest, but the priest in question was a nice guy and really done quite a bit for the community. So I don't know why they have to do that. Way. Why do you have to burn people's pictures and stuff on it? Do you know what I mean? Have your fire and burn a flag and disrespect the whole country, but I think individually and then mentioning people's names and stuff like that, there's a wee element of it that they could do with it,
Okay, well, I've never been to one. I actually might go to one this year.
I last year asked to go to one.
You should go to the one where your face is getting burned.
I asked, we put it out on the podcast, and genuinely, and Willie's in the bonfire committee and stuff
William Thompson.
Yeah. So
I did not know William Thompson was in the bonfire committee.
Willie, can
No wonder he was mad to do the sketch with the the pallet, because he was like, actually, Jen, you want to take this pallet home?
He took it with him in the boot of the car. But Willie couldn't even get me to his one. But genuinely,
if you went to a bonfire, would you be worried about yourself, your safety?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But what's stopping you from walking down the street in Belfast?
I'll do it. I'll drive to one and do whatever. All I wanted was reassurance, because you've no control of the 1,000 people that's there. There could be 5 people who go, yeah, Paddy, come with us, but can they physically watch you? It could just be one drunk guy or drunk girl even. Just
I never ever
at the end of the day, it's a Protestant celebration, and it's sort of like, sticking 2 fingers up to Catholics and the Irish. So if I'm Irish and I'm Catholic, is it really where I should be?
Yeah, you're putting yourself in harm's way. You can't really complain then if someone has a go.
It would be like a black fella going to a burning of a cross and a Ku Klux Klan. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I did put it out that it would go last year, but genuinely, I had some messages from people saying, "Don't come."
Do you think a Southern Irish guy like myself would have more of an issue or less of an issue than you?
Probably. If you've seen the flags burning on it, you might be like, because it is anti-Irish. It's an anti-Irish thing.
Yeah, I never thought of it. Yeah, I know. It's just something that I've never experienced before, and I'm very, I suppose I'm the kind of guy, I'm trying to be respectful of all the
of course, which you have to be. Which you have to be. I mean, that's where I come in and I go, who am I to commentate on it? All I can do is give my point of view, and I have said on our podcast, I'm not here to stop anybody having bonfires. I'm not campaigning to stop them. Do you know what I mean? But I think if they're going to stop them on you, there's things that you could do to try and tone it down a wee bit, and then they wouldn't have as much. It'll get to the stage.
But if you ask them to tone it down, they're just going to go more and more, aren't they? So.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's insane. Well, look, whatever it is, but I'd love to go to one. I mean, I don't know how I'd feel being at it. I genuinely don't know how I would feel being at it. But I think it's kind of like I watched a rugby documentary with Brian O'Driscoll a couple of years ago, and Brian O'Driscoll, it was about the All Ireland rugby.
Yes.
And he came up to Northern Ireland.
Spoke to Orange Man.
He spoke to Orange, and he actually banged the drum.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of hate for that.
Yeah.
But his kind of point was like, look, these people live on the island. They have their traditions. Let's go and see. Let's engage with them.
That's the only way we're going to move forward. If you take that stance of, you need to understand. You need to take into understanding what other people are thinking and what they want. It mightn't be the same views that you have, but that's the only way you'll understand it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
if anybody's ever been married, you have to understand the person you're married to. She's not going to be the same as you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Why would you get married though? You're married. How many years are you married?
From 2019.
Right.
Jesus.
Oh, you're
1904.
So you're only 3 years married?
No, I'm not. I'm married from 2007.
2007.
Yeah.
So you're like so
15 years.
Right, you're married 15 years. So would you say in that time, in that 15 years, that your marriage has changed
completely?
But you still have this core grounding that you can.
We have 4 kids. We have to stay together.
Because if you think about it, Paddy, if you leave, you're financially fucked.
Completely. Do you know what I mean? Completely.
Yeah, like you.
But it's nothing to do with that. I mean, obviously, I got married. With my wife from fucking 1998. Do you know what I mean? So it's a long, long time. But yeah, it goes up and down. Of course it does. I mean, married life has a. But that's what I'm saying. It's sort of similar. Our situation here.
I know Ireland, she was ringing me yesterday saying, kick Paddy out again today.
You couldn't afford her.
The 4 kids.
Somebody said that. Somebody jokes about that. Your wife. I go, listen, you couldn't afford her. You couldn't afford her.
Fucking
and the kids.
I've never met your wife. Look forward to meet her one day, actually. Yeah. So I remember, because obviously we record this up on the Falls Road, which is an amazing part of Belfast.
The world.
And the world in Belfast in terms of the history and stuff like that. But I remember last summer, because you're from this area, we're talking to Paddy there, the actual our engineer today, a sound guy, and remember last summer there was a bit of trouble.
Yep.
On the how far away was that to you from where you were? Because when I moved here, it was really peaceful and everything was fine, right? And then I turned on the news one night and there was, down by the gates, there was some bottles and.
That's literally 2 minutes away.
Yeah, just 2 minutes away, and I was watching it and I thought, oh Jesus Christ, that's 4 or 5 miles from where I live. Yeah. But yet I feel very. Far away from it. Yeah. But when that happened last summer, like, what was the reaction around here in terms of you and your family and your kids? Are you a bit like, oh Jesus Christ, does this happening again, or how do you react to something like that?
And we grew up with that.
So were you a bit like, oh Jesus, let's get the lads out again, or was it a bit like, oh, I thought we've moved on?
No, well, now that I have kids and stuff like that, I think differently about it. You know what I mean?
You don't. You see,
but I was younger. Like,
are you looking at the kids going, put a balaclava on before you run into it?
But I understand why kids do it. It'd be older people with more influence or
pushing them.
But have you ever been involved in a riot?
No.
Right. So you don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Have you ever played something or done something for the first time and you're like, that was amazing? Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what?
That's what a riot's like.
Do you know? I tell you, the closest thing I came to a riot was I was at Old Trafford in 2000 and I think it was 8 or 9. Man United played Roma, and we played the first leg over in Roma, and the Man United fans were attacked by the Roma fans, and the second leg obviously was Man United won 7-1 or 6-1, and I was at the game, and arriving into the ground, the Roma fans were coming in, and obviously the United fans remembered what had happened the previous week, and there was a lot of bottles being thrown. I remember the United fans singing at the Roma fans, where's your fucking ultras now, and all this kind of stuff. And I was standing there, and there was this surge behind me of, Man United fans, all like 21, 22, and I just totally backed off. Mm-hmm. And there was police on horses and stuff. But I can see why people can get sucked into that energy and that atmosphere.
We grew up with it, especially where we lived around here. I mean, I grew up with riots, and there's something, people go to me, you weren't involved in riots. And I was like, yeah, I was. I grew up here. It's not... Even if your parents didn't let you out, you fucking get out and you went and you jump.
So 20 years ago when I'm watching BBC and I see like police vans lined up and there's fellas in Celtic jerseys with balaclavas on, am I thinking, oh geez, there's a young Paddy in there or something?
There would have been. There's no point denying it. A funny thing that happened was I had started doing a thing for TransLink, which was the local bus company up here.
Yeah.
And somebody sent them in a picture of me at a riot in 1995, right? And obviously I look a bit different now, but they had to address it. So the guy who had actually done the deal and got me in phoned me, and he was from Scotland, and he was like, right, well, we'll go down and speak to them here. It's obviously not you. And I was like, no, it is. And he was like, but there's no way of proving it. Just say it's not you. And so he sort of convinced me to say, no, it's not me. But then I sort of went to myself, I'm not saying that, because, you know, there might be footage, or there may be...
Yeah.
Somebody can go in and make a statement, and then
You've lied.
You've lied. So I went in, and what basically it was I was doing gigs on TransLink buses and trains, and I was like an ambassador for TransLink. And I goes in this meeting, and it says, like, this photos became, but we'll just have to address it, but we'll know it's not you. And I think they knew it was me, but they were hoping that I would just go, no, it wasn't. And I just went, look, lads, there's no point in me fucking about here. Yes, that's me in the photograph. Like, hear me? But the way you should look at it is, I mean, you should put that in the paper, photograph of me then burning your bus, and then now on your bus, and just say, look how far we've come.
Look how Paddy has
Let
changed
me just
his
say I
life.
wasn't an ambassador for too much longer.
But that's
after
actually quite a good angle to do that.
That's what I said. I mean, it should be an advertisement. Paddy used to burn the buses, now he uses the buses.
Yeah, and he entertains people on the buses. There you go.
From petrol bombs to jokes.
From petrol bombs to jokes. Do
you know what I mean?
Do you know what? That should be the title of your next show.
Yeah.
From Paddy Mcdonnell, from petrol bombs to jokes. Sponsored
But
by TransLink.
I never got brought back. This TransLink after.
They were like,
Just got a bill in the post for 2 Ulster buses in the burnt back in the day, 95. Undergraduates.
that's crazy. But I remember last summer when there was a bit of hassle up here.
Have you never seen the famous photo?
No. Oh, have you
Have you not seen it?
No, show it to me.
So there was a riot that happened. Now this isn't even that long ago, but what happened is there was a bit of a riot, and what?
So where is this riot?
On North Belfast. So
Right.
what basically, it was a quiet, it wasn't your traditional riot. There was nobody really burning things, right? So what happened was,
I love how you've got like scales for different types of
it
riot.
was
It wasn't a traditional
what
one.
it was
It was a calm riot.
there was a bit of shit happening, right? And what basically happened was Jerry Kelly had been at a thing and jumped on the front of a police Land Rover.
I saw that.
Right, so you've seen that,
Yeah.
right? And I thought this was hilarious that he, like, because back in the day, they had a fucking run over the top of you, like, do you know what I mean? So, more trouble had started, and I was like, I'm going to go over and make a video, and I'm going to replicate what Jerry Kelly done for a video. So
As a laugh.
as for a sketch to put out, right? So the best thing to do was to go over to this and do whatever. So I got a balaclava made, got a green t-shirt on, went over to this bit of trouble, and was seen a Land Rover. So there's people all gathering around the road, and the police Land Rover sitting there. So I said to my mate, get the phone ready and record this. And I jumped on the front of the police jeep and started going, pull in now, doing Jerry Kelly with a balaclava. I wasn't really thinking this out, because I jumped on the front of a police jeep with a balaclava on and was going, pull in now. And everybody was standing there, was all laughing, and it was all a joke. But the cop inside the jeep took a photo of me,
Oh, Jesus.
and then I got brought in for questioning.
All right.
And they were like, what were you doing? And I denied it was me. And then
I love how you admitted you were you were attacking buses, but not.
they pointed out that my tattoo is quite visible. And then when he showed me the photograph, I went, oh, why? So I had said, no, I was in the house watching that and back. And they were like, is that right? Well, who's this? And then I was like, oh, that Jeep that it was on the front of with the balaclava. Oh,
Show it
so
to
there's
me.
a photograph of inside
Oh,
the Jeep.
fucking hell. Where was this taken?
Over North Belt. But that was from inside the Jeep by a cop.
A cop took that picture of
Yeah.
you. Right. I don't know if you can see this here. You'll be able to like zoom in. But we will put this up on Instagram, because you have it up on Instagram,
It's all on
don't
Instagram,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, so what I'll do is we'll be putting this up on Instagram, if you can see it. Paddy on the front of the police van with a hoodie on. And then obviously Padraig is your tattoo on the right arm. I mean, like, come on.
That tattoo gets you in so much trouble. Like, see that
That's class,
that tattoo. Fucking Jack Whitehall was over here, and we went out and played 5-a-side that day, and then he was asking me about local stuff here to put in the show. He was doing the SSE, and we went till the show that night, obviously. And afterwards, he was like, do you want to go for a drink? So we ended up in a bar together and stuff, having a drink. And he says, "Can I take a picture of you with your arm? Because that's your son's tattoo in your arm."
Yeah.
He found dead strange that I had my son's name tattooed on my arm. Didn't tell me what he was.
It's quite a common thing, though.
Yeah, here it
your
is.
children's
All
names
Catholic
tattooed.
fellas put their son's name on their arm, whereas all Protestant fellas just put their own name on their arm.
Really?
Strange, like, but it's true, like. So he took a photo, and I never heard any more about it. And then people were tagging me on Jack Whitehall's thing, and he made up this whole story where he says, when somebody in Belfast asks you to sign an autograph for their son, and you say, "How do you spell that name?" Because it's strange, I've never heard that name.
Oh,
And
like a
then
Gaelic Padraig or something.
Like they
Yeah.
produced the arm, and I was like, "You bastard! That wasn't even what happened."
So you've got a picture of.
I have a picture of Jack Whitehall's post, which he has up, like sort of saying, like I was some randomer that came up to him, and it wasn't. Fuck, you have to go through some shit in your phone here. to try and
That's
find
crazy, man.
it. Look,
Oh wow.
so
Oh yeah. When someone asks you in Belfast for an autograph for their son, and you ask how to spell the name. Oh, brilliant! That is class. Do you know what we'll do? We'll take a
Yeah.
picture of that. And we'll put that up on Instagram.
So my point is, see all these young riders, right? Don't get visible tattoos or cover them up
Because you get
because
caught.
you get caught. This is what happens.
That's insane,
Do you
isn't
know
it?
what I mean?
But I remember when there was the rioting last summer. My mate texted me from Cork because it was on the news on RTE.
Are you all right?
Yeah, he said to me, he goes, "Here, I hear things are kicking off up the north. You know, I'm just checking in to see if you're safe." And I'm like, "Man, I'm out by Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like I'm fucking whatever 4 or 5 miles away. The last time there was a riot in Hollywood, someone got fucking oat milk instead of almond milk in their coffee, right? Like I was just like, will you just relax?" But they think like if one thing happens, you're involved. But I remember like if you compare the news of antisocial behaviour in Belfast and antisocial behaviour in Cork, so up here it's like, well, it wasn't like a traditional riot. Like down in Cork, it's like they're ringing in phone shows in Cork because students are having house parties.
Yeah.
Like and they're like people are ringing up and they're like, they're having parties. Young people
Could
are
you
having
imagine
fun.
if they were in the fucking Holy Lands and
Oh,
St. Paddy's
and
Day?
I've seen the Holy Land. I've seen videos of the Holy Lands.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a remand centre for teenagers who are being held.
Yeah.
They're lunatics. These fella, like I was gigging last weekend down in I was in Tyrone. First time I'd ever been in Tyrone. I was in Moy.
How'd it go?
Really, really good. Wild. The Wild West. Like I basically turned up. It was in a bar with a really good stage, and I was watching a bit of the show, and I thought, when you walk into a gig, and the first thing you think to yourself, oh Jesus, like
Rough?
No, it wasn't rough. It
Just
was
noisy?
just different.
Rowdy?
It was just different, right? Because I suppose if you come from like gig doing
But did
show,
they have a gig just in a public bar?
no, it was ticketed and it was private.
Right.
So anyway, the show was on, and as soon as the show started, they were just phenomenal crowd.
Happy
And
days.
I just went, oh, this is
You
going
were
to be great.
panicking, yeah.
No, because I suppose if you come from, working in England where everything is just a comedy club, and then you come here and it's a bar with a gig on.
Yeah.
And I went on stage and I was heckled because Moy is on the border to Armagh.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this, and I just said to the guy, "This is Tyrone." He goes, "Yeah, you're in Tyrone," but I didn't realise that Armagh is literally like the next corner.
Yeah.
And I just was like, "Oh, it's great to be here in Tyrone. It's the first time here." And then about 5 or 6 lads were like, "Armagh, up Armagh!" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
So there's obviously Armagh people.
Armagh Tyrone and Darien Tyrone always fight.
Do they?
Yeah. So they're like two counties that fucking hate each other, and they're like neighboured on. So you're in like
I'm on the border.
you're basically in fucking Comanche land, or like, do you know what I mean? So that's where they all meet to fight.
I said to them, I said, "Look, I don't care whether you're from Tyrone or Armagh. Says I'm from Cork, and I'm just better than all of you."
How'd that go down?
It actually went down
Did
quite
they laugh
well.
it?
And then there was one point where I actually, you know the way, like when you're thinking on your feet a little bit,
Yeah.
because like they were not they were kind of shouting stuff out, but in a really nice way.
Yeah. They
Like-
were loving your show.
Like
they
I
were
was so
trying to be a
enjoying
part
it.
of it. Yeah.
I was really enjoying it, but I knew that if I would say anything, like I said to them, like, "All right, Tyrone, you won the fucking Ireland, get over it." Like, and I was doing all this kind of stuff, right? And as soon as you mention anything, like to do with Gaelic football or anything like
in.
that. No, yeah, they'd start shouting and stuff like that. Like, and then there was a couple of girls in the front, and I just said to them, like, "Are you out tonight now? You're looking for a gap player, yeah? You're out tonight looking for a full forward, is it?" No, that's kind of like I was doing all this kind of stuff, and I was getting laughs. But I came off afterwards, and I remember just looking under my arm, the sweat, like, because it was
You worked. For
no, but it was a different vibe, you know.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
There was an energy in it.
Yeah.
And I think I've noticed with the gigs up here, there's a fucking different energy here.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
But it's because you're coming up to a place where everything is focal. So you'll have the divide between Protestants and Catholics, right? And then within the Protestant areas, you have a divide amongst Protestants, right? And then within Catholic areas, you have a divide within. And then Catholics, the divide is fucking GA teams.
But it's all
Like, they fucking hate each other. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, within Belfast, West Belfast here, there's what, maybe 15 Gaelic teams? And they fucking hate each other.
But down, like, I understand.
Is there rivalry like that in Cork, like with Gaelic teams?
You see, I wasn't heavily involved in Gaelic really up until I played a bit up until maybe I was about 15, 16. Now, if I'm ever chatting a girl up, I play county. Yeah. Do you ever like say that? Like,
I'm Roy Keane's cousin.
I'm Roy Keane's
and I've
cousin.
done full forward.
I had a trial for Liverpool. I played county for Cork, and I was on the All Ireland All Star team. And I did my cruise ship when I was 6 months old, so I never made it.
The problem with that is girls now know their stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You weren't in the fucking county team.
Oh yeah, because they can follow the players online. And
my
stuff
dad
like
was the manager.
But yeah, down in Cork, like, there's loads of teams. Like, I mean, the county championships. I know you've got your teams like Finbars. There's loads of them, but I'm sure they're all rivalries. But I remember being here on a stag do about 4 years ago, and there was about 15 English lads.
Right.
And part of one of the stag do's things. Now, I'm not a stag do guy. I'm not a lad, right?
Right.
If you said to me, "Andrew, I'm having a stag tomorrow," I'm like, "I've COVID," like I'm not going. Like.
Yeah.
And so the 15 English lads, and one of the activities that we did, we were taken up to the falls to the GAA club, and they got a lesson in hurling and football.
Right.
And it was the funniest
thing
thing. So I turned up. I was driving my mum's car at the time.
What were you doing with 15 English fellas?
So, because I lived in England, my agent's stag party.
Right, okay.
So he's lived in England.
Do you know you're lucky you made it out of West Belfast?
I know, but listen to
They
this.
wouldn't have whacked him. They wouldn't have whacked any of them. They whacked you because they would have went, he's a tout. He's not.
No, but like, obviously they're paying for it, you know what I mean? So obviously there's this GA session that they're getting 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, right? So I arrive up there. I'm a few minutes late. I arrive up and I'm driving in a C-Reg. So I arrive in, but I can't see any of the lads. I'm thinking we were all just meeting outside. Yeah. So I pull up and this fella comes over to me and he's like, "You all right, Paul?" And I'm like, yeah. I said, "I'm actually here. There's a group of lads." He goes, "Oh, I just saw the reg there." You know, he was like, "You're from Cork, yeah?" And I was like, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, lovely." You know, like, he was dead nice to me. So I go in and there's all these English lads sitting around the big screen in this clubhouse. I can't remember the club up in the... there's a club just
St.
up here.
Paul's?
Yeah, I think it's that one. And they do like courses. They do like introductory to Gaelic and football. It's for stags, basically, right? So I go in and there's a guy doing this presentation, North Belfast guy, and he's going through the history of Gaelic football. Now, you remember, the audience is English.
Yeah.
Right? The lads are loving it because these are all cricket players, rugby players, and they've probably they've heard of Gaelic and hurling, but they've never maybe... And he's going, and then Gaelic was turned up and we play hurling with a stick and we've a tradition. And then it gets to 1916. And I'm sitting at the back going, "This is going to be fucking great crack."
And then you drove into the stadium and you shot.
Right, but I could see your man doing the presentation was aware of his audience. Because remember, this was a half an hour presentation that was going on, but we were staying till 3. And I'm sitting at the back and my mate who's next to me, and I just went, "This is going to get interesting." So he starts talking about Gaelic and British rule and all this kind of stuff. And then he says, Gaelic sports were banned for a while and all that while we were occupied. And he'd say, he would say we were occupied by British forces. And then we have great crack with the hurling now. And he skips over this little bit. So we go outside, we're doing the skills. And I know the skills, and these lads are trying to pick the ball up and all that kind of stuff, and we're scoring points. And they had a senior player there as well, and he was phenomenal, this kid. He was a great hurler and a footballer. And I says to your man, I says, "Did you feel a bit nervous talking to the English lads there?" And he went, "Oh, Jesus," he says, I actually do about 5 minutes on that. He says, but once I realised who the audience was, I just skipped over it, you know, because he was getting the money off them, like, you know. But the lads, the English lads, though, in fairness to them, they were obsessed with it. And we went for dinner that night, and the amount of questions they were asking me. Yeah. How are these guys amateur? And then I was showing him clips of, you know, All Ireland hurling final in Europe, and he was like, I never realised, like, the British did this, and this did that, and did that. And I said, we never get taught this kind of history. And I was like, well, yeah. You know, and it's phenomenal.
When you do, I used to do the tours in Belfast. In the taxi and stuff.
Yeah. And were you getting a lot of English in the taxi?
All the time. And you would have maybe got like ex-British soldiers coming back with their wives and their kids.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of them were fucking brought here as young lads and they were fucking just doing a job. Do you know what I mean?
17, 18-year-olds with guns, like.
And they were fucking brought in here and they were like, this place is fucking... And see, no matter where I go in the world, like genuinely, we were in Spain one time and this guy, he heard my voice. He knew exactly what part of West Belfast we were from the tone. And he was able to tell us, he knew everywhere we lived, anywhere we spoke about, and I was going. And he says, I was stationed there. And he says, like, some of the things, you guys were the best riders, like the falls. He was like if when you fucking ratted, you knew how to do it. He says, like, these are the professionals of the world, like, in ratting.
Do you take a sense of pride with that?
There does be, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
It's fucking mental.
Do you ever say it? Because, like, it's just a bit like, you're the best rider. You go, oh, jeez, thanks very much.
But I used to do I used to do the tours, and I had a plastic bullet that I get shot in the arse with at a ride, and I would show them this and say, like, people being killed by these, you know, and
wow.
And you're telling, and they're fucking fascinated. Like, what do you mean you get shot in the... I get shot in the arse with, you know.
Do you have a mark in your arse?
No, it's away.
Oh, it's gone, right, okay.
Well, the priest told me it's away.
Boom. It's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, going out on a Thursday.
But, no, it's, I don't know, it's just something that we grew up with, so
it's normal. It was normal to you.
There was a guy, I was doing his tour, and he basically came out, didn't tell me who he was. I picked him up at the Hilton Hotel. It was a Monday morning, 10 o'clock. Picked this guy up and he was like, I want to do a tour and I want to see this. And I was like, right, but look, it's an hour and a half tour, £30, and I have a route that I take. So if you want to do that, and then you can extend it, and for every 30 minutes after, it's £15. And he was like, okay. So we started at 10 o'clock. And 5:30 that night, I had to send the wife a message to say, listen, I'm out on a tour here and it's continuing on for another half an hour. I'm not going to get in until 7 o'clock. I picked that guy up every day from that hotel for a week.
He loved it.
And he was a surgeon, but his dad, he actually grew up here a bit. His dad was a surgeon here for a while. And he was like the main surgeon in Great Ormond Street Hospital in London. And he came over here because he's always had a sense of, you know, let's go back and find out what actually went on. And he had a book. So I gave him a book on the tour on the first day. It was called The Lost Lives, which is the name of every single person that died during that. And he wanted to go through the book to certain ones and go and see. And because his father had performed surgery on them people.
Oh, wow.
But he never really got a full sense of what went on here. So when I started getting into it, we get dead fucking serious. Like, and he would come back every year and do a week. And we ended up like Derry and Tyrone and, you know, the border and fucking everywhere doing the tours. And he just was so pulled in bad. He was
and what was his reaction to it? Like, was he angry? Was he sad?
It was a mixed emotions, you know. There was funny parts of it, and there was parts of it he was fucking near in tears, you know, and there was parts of it he was like, I don't understand that. And, you know, it's very, very hard for somebody coming from England to understand and don't understand why the British done this. And, you know, so there was a mixture of everything. It was a sense of trying to understand it. And he says, like, I'll never understand that. But he had this couple of years that he lived here and his daddy working under it and listening to the stories of his daddy before he died. And
so when his dad died, he obviously felt,
I need to go back. There's unanswered questions here.
Because my dad experienced this.
Yes.
So I want to see what my dad went through kind of thing.
Yeah. So that's but you would have had loads of British soldiers coming in and doing the tour, and, you know.
Because when I was driving up here today, obviously, I see the black cabs pulled in on the left.
Yeah, talking
and
about
they're out.
That's the international one,
and, yeah. And they're taking pictures, and then they're up at the Bobby Sands Memorial and all that.
Yeah.
And when you were doing that, like, were you getting like Southerners as well?
Everybody, and I mean everybody. Like, you would have the best ones for me were, say, somebody from Belfast that brought 2 people over from Scotland that they met in Spain 2 years before. And they were like, what the fuck will I do with these? And I'll book one of them taxi tours. And at the end of the tour, the person that was from Belfast was going, I didn't even know some of that.
Yeah.
That fucking blew my mind. You know, when you look at it from that, you know, it's every day we're here. They were going, that was amazing. You know, so
I did the tour and I was fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Like I really was.
Yeah.
And I there was a part of me that kind of felt a bit guilty for not knowing more.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was in school, we did history up until 18.
You fucking left us up here.
We didn't leave you, Paddy.
You fucking left
Paddy, I didn't vote in it. I didn't vote in it.
We're our fucking cousins and you just fucking left us.
Paddy, it wasn't my fault. I didn't vote in the referendum in 1927 or whatever.
You just left us up here.
But I've come back up now to check in on you. Brought you up some food, some biscuits. Buy you up some pallets. But you know what? I did history in Ireland. This is another thing I want to talk to you about as well, right? People have when I did history up until I was 18. So obviously we started in like 18th century.
Is this for your Leaving Cert?
For my Leaving Cert, right? So William Gladstone, Isaac Butt.
Tell people up here, just Leaving Cert are your GCSEs.
No, they're A levels.
They're A levels?
Yeah.
Leaving Cert's A levels?
Yeah.
What's the ones below it?
Junior Cert.
Junior Cert, so Junior Cert and Leaving Cert. So that's your GCSE and your A levels, right?
Yeah,
so
yes,
just people
yeah.
know what the fuck's a Leaving Cert, you know? Is that so you can leave to come up north?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're not allowed to go up north unless you do a Leaving Cert.
Yeah,
Fill out
exactly.
that form, you know.
Well, if you saw my results in the Leaving Cert, you wouldn't have even questioned why I even turned up for them.
Can I tell you something that'll blow your mind?
What?
I'm in one of the questions in one of the Leaving Certs.
You're not.
I swear.
You're
Swear
joking
to
me.
God. Yeah.
So we've gone from you being burned at Protestant bonfires to now being part of the Irish education system.
Yeah.
Paddy,
How mental is that?
give me. Where's this coming from?
It's in the Irish Leaving Cert, like the Gaelic.
Yeah.
So we done a few shows in Irish, and there was me.
Are you fluent Gaelic, Irish speaker?
I am in that.
You know me, same as me. I'm about 4%.
Do you know what I mean? No, but I was when I was a teenager, but then I stopped speaking it. My kids go to the Irish language school.
Do they speak it all the time?
They're bilingual, yeah.
Wow.
They're bilingual. Mine isn't great, to be honest with you, but I done a show in Irish, and there was a few of us got together, like Eddie McQueen. Do you know Eddie?
Oh, Aideen's lovely, yeah. She's in London now, yeah.
Yeah, Eddie McQueen and me and.
So is she fluent as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there was like 4 of us, but 3 of them were from down south. So there was 18, and I forget the other. I don't even know if
Julie J on?
No,
No,
there was
Julie.
only one girl was Eddie McQueen, and there was fuck. I can't
Des
remember
Bishop
his
by
name,
any chance?
sorry.
'Cause he
No,
learned
Des.
Irish.
I know Des done it, but he wasn't on this. So there was 4 of us anyway, and we came up here and we done it. I had done it my own, then they came up and we done it together, and we called it the Gaelgery. And it became a question in the fucking Irish Church. So it's like Paddy Mcdonnell, August Eddie McQueen, August fucking. I'm thinking fucking Ger Stanton, but I don't think it was Ger Stanton. It was somebody else. But they mentioned the names, and it was an actual fucking question. To Gaelic, to Fargrim or in Belfast or in fucking 2012, and it's an actual question in the Irish fucking Leaving Cert, and that's my claim to fame. Like, I'm an actual fucking question in a Leaving Cert down south, and I couldn't even sell a fucking ticket. Do you know
You've
what I mean?
achieved more down south than I've ever achieved, and I'm not even where I'm from there.
There's only 2 fellas from Belfast that's in Leaving Certs. There's me and there's Jerry Adams.
Although he probably denied it, he was a member of the Irish.
I was never in the Leaving Certs ever.
Have you met Jerry Adams?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Did you meet Mark McGuinness?
Once, very briefly.
What was that like?
I mean, it was a rat.
Oh, was it?
No.
Oh, it wasn't.
It was at a funeral, actually.
What's Jerry Adams like?
He's actually quite witty.
Is he?
He made me tea and it wasn't nice. And then me being the way I am, I wasn't even doing comedy and I joked about the tea and everybody busted out laughing, So it was like, Jerry, your fucking tea's stinking. And people was like, you wouldn't, but it was more in a jokey sort of way. And he was like,
friendly banter.
I'm sorry about that. I'm like another one. Was it not? Do you want more milk or less milk or was there sugar in it?
Would he be up and down the falls at all?
Yeah.
Would you see him here a lot?
Yeah. When we
Really?
were kids, he used to watch us playing hurling in the local park, like. And he
It's
he
just
loved
a strange-
hurling.
I
He
just
loved
find
hurling,
it-
so he used to watch us playing hurling. He'd been standing there with a big Alsatian. Go ahead, can't stick it over the bar. Good point. Mind who you're fond, you know.
Tregearla.
Keep her lit, lads.
Keep her lit.
Oh, he would have been watching. People faded dead stream, but it's just somebody that lived in the fucking state.
Do you know what I'm going to do, Paddy, is I've decided there's an election coming up in May, right?
You gonna run?
No, I'm not going to run. You
gonna run home?
I'm running for the Pallet Party. I'm going to email Sinn Féin, the DUP, the UU. I'm going to email every single political party in Northern Ireland, and I'm going to invite them to send a representative of their party onto the podcast. What do you think?
They'll do it.
Do you think
Sinn
so?
Féin will do it.
I want to get Michelle O'Neill on, and I want to ask her.
She mating, come on now.
But you know what? I'd love to get Michelle O'Neill on. I met Mary Lou McDonald once. Now, see, I'm going to think is I don't vote for Sinn Féin.
Right.
Right. So I'll give you. This is a.
They won't come on now.
No. Let me just explain to you. Right. I don't vote for fucking any of them.
Right.
Right. I tell you who I vote for. You know when you see an election, whether it's down south, up here, or whatever, and there's like an independent. And they've got 22 votes.
And they're standing with a fucking goldfish bowl. With
yeah.
Yeah.
And their policy is they're running on one issue. They want to change bin day from Monday to Wednesday, right?
I'm stopping fracking.
yeah. The traffic light goes from green to red too fast.
Yes.
Right? I go, if that's a hill they're willing to die on,
There's too many fucking Santras in my town.
I'm going to vote for them. Because these lunatics, I love those lunatics, right?
Yeah.
So, but I've never voted for Sinn Féin. When I was living in England, I had a vote in England. I voted. I actually voted for the Liberal Democrats because they could get rid of the Conservatives in the area that I lived in.
Right.
And before that, then I voted for the Labour Party. And when I lived in Cork, I voted for Fianna Fáil because my mum told me to.
Yeah.
But I only voted, and then I voted in the Irish presidential election, and I voted for Mary McAleese.
Yes.
And that was it. But I haven't, because I've been out of the Irish system down south for a while. But what I would do is I'd love to get Michelle O'Neill on. And bring her on and not ask her one question about politics. And the first question would be like, so Michelle, when was the last time you were absolutely fucking pissed? You know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to say is like, basically, did you ever ring up Mary Lou and go, right, fucking Mary, let's meet in Dundalk, let's go on the sauce, let's go on the Tinder, you know, whatever it is, right? I'd rather bring them on and not talk. And if they're sitting there going, well, us in Northern Ireland, we need to get our community to work with other communities. I'm like, I'm not interested in that. I want to know, what was the last 3 things you're watching Netflix? Do you smoke? Do you like the fags? You know, do you ever like, you know, I just want to...
They'll not come on unless they're getting...
a little thing in. I'll say to them, you can have full editorial control over it, and I'll give you a little space for you to plug your policies. Yeah. You know, do you think they'd do it? So that's what I'm going to do this week, right? I'm actually going to email... I'm going to email the DUP. They won't come on.
They might.
Would they?
They might. There's only, like... Ian Paisley Jr.'s a bit of crack.
Is he?
Yeah.
You met him?
Yeah. He's a bit of crack. He loves an old swally and a dancing a fucking hoolie and you know what I mean. He has a bit of crack. You could have a bit of crack with him. Sammy Wilson, you could have a bit of crack with.
Really?
Yeah.
What about Jim McAllister? That tells everything there, doesn't it? That tells everything.
Jim McAllister put up the other day on Twitter, the Queen's Jubilee, and I stood up and I made sure, or the platinum, or whatever the fuck is on now, right? I made sure that this is going to be a celebration, and I'm looking and I'm going, you fucking cunt. Like, the country is in fucking need of somebody to fucking stand up and go, do you know what? Fuck it, people are dying in the hospitals. The hospitals are a mess. The fucking, you know, the fucking policies are all out there. We're just coming off the back of a pandemic. Gas is fucking 50% more, and he stands up to make sure that there's money to fucking celebrate the fucking Queen sitting on her golden fucking throne. And I just went, you bastard. And I put up below it, I just went, I'm just going to rack this tweet. So I just put up below it, pity her son was a pedo.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't know that now. His son arrested and charged or something?
What?
His son?
No, her son. The
Queen.
Queen.
Her son. I thought you said his son. I thought you said, pity your son is a veteran. So we need to change that.
Pity her son.
Oh, her son. Oh,
pity
my
her
God.
Her son is a pedo.
Oh, yes, Prince Andrew, of course. Sorry.
He's just Andrew now.
It's just so he's not Prince anymore,
no.
is he not?
So you're like on the same par as him.
Oh, no.
Because you're just Andrew.
No, they've actually rang me up. I'm now the new Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew Ryan of Cork.
The Prince Andrew Ryan of Cork. How's it going?
I'm the head of the leprechauns.
Paddy, that's just a bit too far,
okay?
Just a bit too far.
Do you know my uncle, King Brian?
My dad, William of Orange. But that's I think I'd like to get them on just to have a normal chat with them. Like,
Mate, there is no normal chats. Now I have a few friends that's involved in Sinn Féin or councillors and stuff. Like, if you want to get one of them, I could ask them.
Would Jerry Kelly come on?
No, they'll know.
No, I don't know him. I mean, I don't know anyone. Would he come on?
I don't know.
You don't know.
He has to answer it himself.
That's the most typical Sinn Féin answer, isn't it? But he has to answer
You have to remember, I physically went to the thing and was imitating him on the front of a Jeep, so he's not really my biggest fan.
Oh, is he not?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
He used to live in the house next door to me.
Did he?
Yeah. Doesn't live there now.
That's insane. But the thing is, the stuff that I see on the news, and I go, my God, that's so far from my life, is actually your life.
Yeah. But yet we're from the same country.
Yeah, we're from the same country. And I think that just shows you how this island has such a unique, for such a small country with whatever, like 5 million in the south and what, 1.5 million up here, 6.5 million on one island.
We'd knock a fucker to you.
So you think 1.5 million?
We'd fucking take us.
Even the British are like, well, they are the best rioters in the world. Like,
well, you know, it didn't take Ulster very fucking easy. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know, man. It's insane, though, isn't
That's
it?
why Ulster's infiltrated so much with that's why like it ended up being that wee province.
Because they came from Scotland, a lot of them, didn't they?
Well, Ulster was very hard to get. You know, you had like the O'Neills, and I'm going back like in history here. So what they done was it was always really tough to break Ulster because of the clans and the families up here, and so they flooded it with Protestant settlers basically to take it, and that's why there was so many. That's why there was a big nucleus of Protestant people in Ulster, and then when they divided the country up, it made sense, you know, to take there, but also Harland and Wolff, the harbours and the ports like Derry and stuff, that was all influenced in why they kept that. The industrial.
They wanted the shipbuilding, the money, and all that kind of stuff.
And the ports. I mean, the British fleet was entirely in Derry. You know
well,
what I mean?
You know, it's like any
the
country.
World War and stuff like that. So
any country near a port, you know, importing, exporting, shipbuilding, you know, it's big money.
And back then, the population in the 6 counties. I mean, like, because if you take in Ulster, you have Donegal, Monaghan, and Cavan. They didn't include them. There was nothing really there.
Because there's counties in the north, but they're not.
Yeah, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, if you go to Donegal, people say I'm going down south.
Yeah, even though you go up north.
Even though the most northern part of the country is
yeah, because I
fucking
showed
Donegal.
Hegarty on last week, like, and he's like, I have to travel north to go to the south.
Which is mental.
Yeah.
But 79% of the population in 1922 or whatever, when they divided the country up, was Protestant in the north. And now it's about like 47% Catholic, 53% Protestant.
Well, I heard a statistic yesterday. There was a census done, wasn't there, a year ago? And apparently coming out for the first time ever to say that the nationalist community is going to be bigger than the
Probably because you've got a lot of Portuguese, Polish, whatever, coming in, you know. And
but they say Sinn Féin now is the biggest party up here.
Probably.
Yeah, and I was watching Claire Byrne live on RTE last night, and did a thing on.
Do you get RTE up here?
I do, yeah. I don't
Normally
pay.
they block it.
no, I get it. I have RTE, yeah. I watch it on the iPlayer.
Did you stick an aerial up for it?
No, I didn't stick it. No, I watch it on a laptop.
You used to have to stick an aerial up for it.
Especially RTE area, like.
It was like,
but you don't pay for it.
There was no RTE aerials in the Shankill Road, I'm telling you that.
Was there not?
No.
That's but like I was watching this thing on Claire Byrne live last night, and it was a very interesting discussion. And like, I'm not very political, right? I'm just not, like, I don't really give a shit.
Nobody is.
I don't
Nobody
really
up
give a
here is.
shit.
Nobody cares about
I don't really
politics up
care,
here.
like, but I'm interested in the formations of stuff.
Yes.
But I wouldn't align myself with anybody.
Yep.
And last night they were talking about like the rise of Sinn Féin in the south, and obviously Sinn Féin up here. That Sinn Féin is, you know, the next election. I mean, they probably would be in government now if they ran a load of more candidates in the last election. But there's no election till 2025 in the south. And I think Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil, who are in coalition in the south, know now that the issues that are going to get people into government it's the wallet, it's the cost of housing, fuel, petrol, and Sinn Féin are ticking all those boxes. But ultimately, I say to myself, if it was that easy to fix, I'm sure Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil would have just done it. But they're not. But Sinn Féin, you're not going to solve it in 4 or 5 years. No. So I think people in Ireland now are actually really becoming a little bit more open to change, because we had referendums on same-sex marriage and repeal the women's right to choose, and we all those things were passed in the south, and people are not scared of change anymore. Yeah, we've had the same system for a while. Like in the last 15 years, right? Me and you, I've lived through a recession, right? I've lived through a recession. I've lived through a pandemic. The rise of new media and fake news and all that. A pandemic, Roy Keane being kicked out of Sapan. What else have I missed out on? Ireland not qualified. I've lived through all these events, and I'm just thinking to myself, I just need some calmness.
Yeah.
Like we're living through like unbelievable history.
All we need to do is kick the war off again up here and let you live in it for a wee while. And
last night I was watching
all the boxes.
I was watching a thing last night that Russia are about to invade Ukraine. I'm like, what? How the fuck is this happening? Like, it's 2022.
See, what people don't understand is it's not the wee man in the street that starts the war.
Is there a reaction to?
No, well, there's bigger things happening that you don't know about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why is Russia all of a sudden wanting to go into Ukraine? You have to ask yourself that, and you need to watch different news channels. If you watch BBC One and take your information from BBC One about what's happening in Ukraine, you're fucking living in La La Land. Do you know what I mean? They only want us to hear what they want us to hear. Do you know what I mean? There's more to it. Do you know? You have to think outside the box. You have to look. Like, Russia don't have an army base in every country around the world, do they?
No, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not.
Do you know what I mean?
I'll be honest with you, Paddy. Russian army statistics isn't something that I sit at home and I Google.
But see, whenever there's people scrambling fucking jets to stop fucking Russian planes, which are like, what, 100 mile away from fucking the top of Ireland, why is there Russian planes coming anywhere near our country? Do you know what I mean? You need to start fucking going, well, what's happening there? Why are they worried? Why is Russia's ships starting to circle Ireland?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, my wife says to me, well, we'll not be affected. I mean, because I showed her a thing where Putin basically says, yeah, we mightn't be able to beat them with our armies on the ground, but I have a button here, and if I push it, we're all going to get nuked, and we'll do whatever we need to do. It'll be terrible, but... And Andrew was like, well, that won't affect Ireland. We're not fighting Russia. And I went, no, but we're 26 miles away from the fucking Trident fucking nuclear submarine, which will be the first target. And she was like, well, will that affect us? And I was like, yeah,
I think your Wi-Fi might be cut off for a bit.
I think you might find that Ireland, the top of Ireland might not be there anymore. Do you know what I mean?
But did you know when the Russians went down to off the coast? Well, they went off the coast of Cork, whatever, outside the economic zone a couple of weeks ago, and RT were down there and they were interviewing the local fishermen that went out in their boats and it was the most Irish thing ever. Like, Russian military are going to be doing some exercises off whatever it is, 200 miles or something like that off the coast of Cork, and there's a fella rang the radio in Cork and he just went, well, I have a small fishing vision and I'm going to go out there now and I'm going to protest. And Joe Duffy's like, oh, well, how big's it? It's about 20 feet
20 feet away from the Russians,
and he's like, I go out and it's just like the most Irish thing ever. It's like all these fishermen in
Cork
just
poking a few slitters
over, like,
take that, you big Russian whore, you.
Back to Moscow, you bastard.
You'll not be rushing back into my fucking land again, will you? Did you ever see the one where the British military ship is approaching what they thought was a ship off the coast of Ireland? Have you ever seen this?
No.
This is
that
fucking,
on YouTube or
it's
something?
amazing, right?
Right.
So this British ship, and it's like, please change your course. You are colliding with it. And the guy was like, I'm not for moving. And they're like, I'm telling you now, you're getting... And then it went like on and on and on. There's loads of it. And then the guy was like, well, you can do whatever you want because I can't move because I'm a fucking lighthouse. They thought it was his ship. He was a lighthouse, but he didn't do... He done the whole Irish thing where he didn't go, listen, I'm a lighthouse, lads.
He dragged it out, like...
He was like, no, go and fuck yourself. I can't move and I won't be moving. You know? It was the most Irish thing ever. It's like, he could have been blew up at any minute, but he was like, I'm having a bit of crack.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm going to post that actually up on Instagram.
Funny.
That clip actually for people to watch that. Oh, but listen, Paddy, thanks so much for coming
problem.
in. Do you know what I've learned? Like, every time I talk to you, I always learn stuff off you.
Yeah, of course you do.
Because I do feel, because of course,
I'm in a fucking Leaving Cert question.
This man is history. This is a part of history in this part of the island.
Yeah, it's fucking Paddy Irish, man. You know what I mean?
But Friday night's a big night.
Friday night's a big night.
What are we doing Friday?
I don't know. Will we go and play a game of racquetball or something?
No, Paddy's doing a show on Friday night down in Limelight. It's sold out, and I will be on before you.
Yes.
Doing my 20 minutes
He's
of comedy.
going to come on and do a bit of his Irish dancing that he got a medal for in 1991.
That never happened.
No.
But we're doing a bit of comedy, so I'm very excited to be opening for you on the show.
No, it'd be great to have you. There's a few people excited to see you.
Are they?
Just from like what they've seen so far, you know what I mean? They've seen a bit of you, and then there was a couple of people had seen you in the Empire and really enjoyed your set and stuff, and they were just saying, oh no, it's good to see you. And I was like, yeah, no, it's good.
Oh, it'll be great, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
I just want you to embrace the fact that you've come up here and I've embrased you.
Oh, Paddy, you have embraced me.
I need you to have a word with the people down south to embrace us.
I will, though, don't worry.
Because you left us here.
I didn't leave you here, Paddy, for God's Jesus, you're like my ex-girlfriend. I did not leave you. Things broke down.
Yeah. No, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, listen, Paddy, thanks very much for coming. Listen, everybody.
Here. I've tickets going for the
Oh, yeah.
Waterfront in November the 12th.
Yeah.
For On the Tools 2, Tool Harder. So if you want to go on the Ticketmaster, there's about 600 tickets left, and it'd be great to.
Good. So what I'll do is I'll be posting a link up here as well to Paddy's website where you can buy all his tickets and stuff. So please do go and see him. He's absolutely brilliant. And we will get him down south. We'll get him a little holiday down south to do some gigs.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that maybe later in the year we'll do Cork in the north and Mudblood.
In Cork?
No, in Cork versus Mudblood. Right? So what we do is we all go to me, you, and I have a couple of Cork comics, and you bring yourself and William. We go down to Cork. We do Cork in the north. We do stand up in the first section.
Yeah.
Then after we've podcast wars. So we've got Northern Irish.
Can we have a puck fada down there?
We'll do whatever you want, man. We'll elect a goat as mayor. We'll do whatever we want, right? That's what they do in Kerry, you know.
Yeah.
Like they have it, whatever. Anyway, and we'll do live shows where we'll
Cork's
have.
a great city.
Cork's a great city. We'll have Cork comedians, Northern Irish comedians. We'll have great bit of
crossover.
We'll have a little crossover.
It'd be like a proper RGS.
Who's more Irish? We'd be like, who's more Irish? And poor William will just be sitting in the corner like, oh, what time am I on at?
And he's probably more Irish than the whole lot of us.
The backdrop will just be pallets. Painted blue.
Love and life.
Yeah, listen, Paddy, thanks very much for coming. Thanks everyone for listening, downloading, and subscribing. Back again next week. And we really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode with the wonderful Paddy Mcdonnell.